afternoon, Steel City. Welcome to the Yinzer Report, Episode 2, here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. With me, Ralph Calise, your 24th inductee into the IE Sports Radio Hall of Fame. On today's Black and Gold Victory Tuesday, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the 2024 playoffs. Here we go, Steelers, here we go. A curse, hopefully, became a lesson learner about the terrible towel. I will recap a busy 4 games and 7-day stretch for the Pittsburgh Penguins and talk Pittsburgh Pirates baseball about a Hall of Fame inductee. Plus, a trivia question for all the NFL fanatics out there. All this and more coming up, the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go! Again, good afternoon, everybody. It's me, Ralph Calise, again, your host for the Yinzer Report, your direct feed on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Well, the 2024 Steelers have made the NFL playoffs. It didn't look good at 7-7, but some great coaching by Mike Tomlin seems to have turned the team around. They won basically 3 playoff games in a row to get in with some help from the Titans. And there you go. Steelers playing Sunday versus Buffalo, 1 o'clock in the 2024 playoffs. So just to recap how this came about, the Steelers were 7-7 with losses 3 in a row to the Cardinals, Patriots, and Colts. 7-7. The sky is falling in Pittsburgh. They're now null and void. People are talking about Tomlin. He's lost his coaching prowess. You got players saying that the team was not practicing up to their competition days before the game. Guys, old Steelers coming out saying that Tomlin has lost it with the players in the steal away. And an interview with Mika Fitzpatrick where he was very attitude-ish, very direct, saying guys coming in this locker room and putting the black and gold uniform and thinking they can just go out in the field and win a game. Basically, he's telling them, grow up and be a professional if you want to be a Pittsburgh Steel. So 7-7, they come up. They're going to play Cincinnati, who was hot at the time, coming in, must-win game. And Mike Tomlin, after the Colts game, goes on his post-game conference and says at least 2 to 3 times changes will be made. So during that week leading up to the Cincinnati game, his first big move he made was he named Mason Rudolph quarterback. He then did something with the offensive line. He moved the rookie Broderick Jones from his normal side of the line to the other side of the line. He then moved Patrick Peterson due to all the injuries in the secondary with Minka and suspension to Casey, other injuries, moved Peterson to safety. Uh, Again, Tomlin in his Tomlinisms calls them his guys off the couch. He went out and they signed Miles Jack and Eric Rowe to come in with some veteran leadership to help the defense. Okay, so the game comes versus Cincinnati. Mason Rudolph starts the game. He's throwing passes, throwing bombs. He reignites George Pickens. The Steelers is a good wide receiver there, rookie from Georgia. He winds up with 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's rejuvenated. The offensive line does some good jobs with the running. There was a reverse to Calvin Austin with Jalen Warren. He just planted a Cincinnati Bengal. He knocked him like 3 yards back, and the rushing game was on its way. Mason Rudolph, like I said, he was throwing the ball over the field, did what he had to do. The defense came up, had 2 turnovers, interception. I think Eric Rowe had one, and the Steelers closed out the Bengals to win that game to go to 8-7. Still, on the outside looking in, with no really playoff percentage near them, they were still way out of it. They go into Seattle, hostile environment on the road, and again, they come up with a victory. Again, Mason Rudolph just throwing the ball around in a way where he would pick up a first down. The offensive line opening up holes for rushing. The first touchdown of the game was a Jalen Warren 30-yard touchdown run. Najee Harris scored a touchdown. And again, Mason Rudolph, he threw a first down pass to George Pickens to basically kill the clock out for the victory. The defense again, Nate Herbig came up with a strip sack fumble and basically made it hard for the Seahawks to come back there. Okay, so now 9-7, and we go to Baltimore. Final game of the season, AFC North battle. The game comes along, and supposedly the Ravens are resting players. Game comes Saturday 4:30, and the rain is going sideways, upwards, downwards, however you want to say it. The weather was really bad. But Steelers offensive line made a statement. I think it was the second drive of the game, 76-yard drive, and Najee Harris bangs in for a touchdown. Steelers have the lead. The Ravens tied it up before the half, but the Steelers had other opportunities to get some more points, but they started playing folly football with the wet football. Second half game, and there was back and forth. They were trading downs back and forth. Steelers, Ravens, back and forth, Steelers, Ravens. And here comes the fourth quarter, and Mason Rudolph, first play of the fourth quarter, throws a 71-yard touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson. Steelers lead 14-7. We did, however, lose T.J. Watt in this game to an injury. The lead was 14-7, and the Ravens were trying to come back. And again, there was a defensive play. Eric Rowe knocked down a ball on a Ravens running back. Steelers recovered, and they kicked a field goal to extend the lead to 10 and wound up winning the game 17-10. Beautiful. We're 10-7. We got a chance at the playoffs. So now we need help. We need help Sunday. We need help from the Titans to beat the Jaguars. Or we need the Bills to lose to the Dolphins. Because the Saturday night game had ended in a tie, and the Texans beat the Colts. So Sunday comes. Well, Pittsburgh knows what happened. The Titans upset the Jaguars. And here we are. The Steelers are in the 2024 playoffs. We do not know where we're going, who we're playing because of the Sunday night game. And we go have dinner, have a couple of drinks, and we wait for the Sunday night game. So that was the journey to the playoffs, the way I saw it. And after the Baltimore game, I wrote like an essay summary on the game because of a lot of the chatter about the Ravens resting their regulars. So instead of like sharing my thoughts with you about it, I wrote it down that night, and I want to read it to you, and I want you to see and feel my emotion of a Steelers Ravens game, AFC North football. All right, so here I go. I will say the attempts to dismiss the 17 win over the Ravens as achieved versus the Baltimore backups, verifiably correct, but that narrative chooses to ignore the fact the Steelers were starting our third string quarterback, Mason Rudolph, and relying on a defense with guys coming off their couches to join the team, and Miles Jack and Eric Rowe are the two big ones in that matter. Patrick Peterson moving to safety, and second and third stringers with a couple of practice squad players also filling out our defensive side. Now, even better than the defense, let's acknowledge that our quarterback came from even lower rungs of our depth chart and has won 3 games in a row in December for this playoff push, or as it turns out, playoff spot. Of course, those 2 wins being on the road in hostile environments, Seattle and Baltimore. There is no argument at this to me. This is the best quarterback play I've seen since Ben Roethlisberger left 2 years ago. The offense, with the offensive line play, rushing the ball, and Rudolph's command of the game has come together at the right time, and it looks like and is Steelers football. Another fact that it's an AFC North football, and I will say to my dying breath, there is no other football game that count more than an AFC North teams battling each other. It is a different breed of football, no matter who's playing. Don't be fooled by John Harbaugh resting his players and not wanting to win and not the Steelers out of the playoffs. The Ravens' defensive front still included Michael Pierce, Justin Matabuke, Javon Clowney, and Kyle Van Horn, and the secondary players as well. Hey, for crying out loud, Clowney was celebrating an incentive bonus for a sack he made for a couple of minutes on the field before the next play was run. And despite that, the Steelers, being so well coached these past 3 games, controlled the game, the offensive line helping out. Our total of 31 times rushed for 155 yards, 112 from Najee Harris. Parentheses, man, isn't it great seeing a Steelers running back with the name Harris on the back of his uniform? To me, it sure is. Close parentheses. The Steelers in this game were coached to the weather report, knowing what kind of game it would be. The O-line and the running backs really stepped up. The Steelers played physically and opening and coaching the play that was planned. They played to that coaching plan. So once again, this is AFC North football, and no matter who is playing, this is how AFC North games are played and have to be won, once again, no matter who is playing. So that was the essay summary I wrote after the game. And now comes Sunday, and the Steelers need the Jaguars to beat the Titans. Steeler Nation, Steeler fans all over the world watching, needing a Jaguars loss. I will now explain to you a curse and a lesson learned about the terrible towel. There is a piece of Steelers paraphernalia out there called the terrible towel. Every Steeler fan has one or more. I have 14. Remember that newborn babies in Pittsburgh are wrapped up in a terrible towel instead of a blanket. So the number one rule about the terrible yellow towel is to never disrespect it, or you will be cursed at some time or another. So let's go back to October 29th, week 8 in Pittsburgh. The Jaguars defeated the Steelers 20-10. Kenny Pickett had a concussion in the second quarter, and Mitchell Trubisky, worst backup quarterback in the NFL, comes into the game, throws 2 interceptions to seal the victory for the Jags. On the second interception that sealed the game, number 42, safety, Andrew Wingward, who had the INT, ran off the field with the ball towards the stands on the Jaguars sideline. Number 45, linebacker, Kavleon Chazen, joined him, went up to the Steeler fans in the stands, and both players taking terrible towels from the fans. Oh boy. Jason dropped the one he took, went back to get it, and slipped. Partial curse there. Wingard, a real jagoff, is running up and down the sideline, waving and disrespecting the terrible towel in front of Steelers Nation for all to see. Andrew Wingward has just signed him up to be the next curse of the terrible towel. Remember the rule. Never disrespect it, especially in Pittsburgh, in front of Steeler Nation. Never do that. So, you two knuckleheads, take this as a lesson learned. Never disrespect the terrible towel. So the Jags go on to lose to the Titans, as the curse was in effect because they were playing against Mike Vrabel, who was a former draft pick and player for the Steelers for 3 years, as well as Terrell Edmonds, who was a first-round draft pick and had a key interception in the first half. So the Jaguars get eliminated by losing to the Titans, and those 2 players now know about the terrible towel curse, and for sure a lesson learned. Again, never disrespect the terrible towel. Myron Cope, radio broadcaster of the Steelers a long time ago during the early Super Bowl winning years, was the creator of the terrible towel. Myron Cope, rest in peace. Your curse lives on. Let's go Steelers. So that's how I looked at the weekend in that manner. Um, just a couple other notes going back to the game against Baltimore. We did lose TJ Watt. The injury was deemed a grade 2 MLC sprain. Mike Tomlin had his press conference today, and he's ruled out for this week. He did, however, walk back to the locker room Saturday, and supposedly he was in the locker room fighting with the medical personnel, saying he wanted to come back in the game. That's one sick bastard in my book. Uh, of course, he did not come in the game, and he's already been deemed out for next week. His replacement in that game, Marcus Golden, had a sack, 2 tackles for a loss, and a fumble recovery. Miles Jack and Eric Rowe, Tomlin's off the couch boys, have stepped up huge the past 3 games, all wins. They have solidified positions the Steelers have seen low on manpower. The rushing in this Baltimore game, Steelers rushing 39 carries, 155 yards, 4.0 average per carry, 1 TD on the ground. Of course, it was miserable weather, and Najee had 26 carries, 112 yards, and a TD. He is the first player in Steelers history to have 1,000 yards rushing in his first 3 seasons. Ball security was the key factor, and the Steelers had their troubles in the first half. The first handoff to Harris was not clean, and he was able to hold on to it. And Jalen Warren, the other running back, lost the fumble and had 2 of the same fumbles that he was able to hold on while the Steelers got back. As it turned out, a big play in the second half was a Ravens fumble, and the Steelers recovered that to make a late field goal, putting the Steelers up by 10. Of course, the game-changing play was Rudolph to Deontay Johnson, 3rd and 4 from their own 29-yard line. First play of the fourth quarter, 79-yard touchdown pass, and the Steelers win. And like I said, as we know, Sunday turned out to go in their favor, and they're in the playoffs. So just to recap the season, the regular season is over before the playoffs start. The 2023-7 season, the Steelers finished 10-7 overall, 5-1 division record, sweeps over the Ravens and Bengals, and this year happened. The AFC North turned out to be the toughest division in football because it's the first time in 90 years any NFL division has 4 teams with winning records. AFC North football, telling you. Mike Tomlin, this is 10th time in 17 seasons he's had double-digit wins. Of course, he's got the 17 straight seasons with the winning record. The other note I have here is the Steelers in 20-year franchise record of having a 500 record or better. That's unbelievable to me. Notes during the week that occurred also. On January 5th, Minka Fitzpatrick was named 2024 Bart Star Award for his character, integrity, leadership on and off the football field. He's the first Steeler ever to win that award. He was also named to the 2024 AFC Pro Bowl. I think Minka has played maybe 6 total games all year. He's been in games, he's went out getting hurt. I guess that's a detriment of how great of a leader and the position he plays to the NFL to be named to the Pro Bowl. Congrats, Minka Fitzpatrick. Joey Porter Jr. was named the Steelers Team Rookie of the Year. The Steelers called out the Joe Green Performance Award. He came in third week of the season, took over the cornerback spot, and just ran with it. The guy is going to be an all-star every year, and he deserves that award. So, again, that's it for the Steelers. We're going to Buffalo Sunday for a playoff game. Get your Steeler gear out. Get your terrible towels out. Let's root for the Steelers. It's going to be a tough game. Mike Tomlin was saying in his press conference today that their main concern is to contain Josh Allen. The guy is a master at his craft. He's a great quarterback runner. He's tough. He sees the field very well. And we're going to go to Buffalo and give it a shot. All right. Let me go through the chat here. Tehran, thanks for tuning in. Gen B, thanks for tuning in. Thank you to the IE Sports Radio family for welcoming on the shows. And I have a NFL trivia question I'd like to lay out there before I go to my next segment on the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is a trivia question I had given to me by a good friend I hadn't seen in a long time. We were having lunch last week, and I'm gonna throw it out there for you guys, but do me a favor. Don't take the cheesy way out and go on Google and Google the answer. If you're a football fan, you can figure this out and you'll have fun with it. All right? So here's the question. Who are the 4 NFL quarterbacks in NFL history to have beaten all 32 teams? Now, the Raiders have had names of Oakland, California, Los Angeles, Vegas, Las Vegas. This question is just towards the Raiders. So once again, the question is, who are the 4 NFL quarterbacks in NFL history to have beaten all 32 teams? Don't throw any answers up in the chat. Let's wait till about 5:50. You could start throwing your answers in there. I'll let you know if you have the right guys. And if not, and we go off the air, and you want to shoot me the answer over on IE Sports Radio on band, we could do it that way too. Honestly, it took me 22 hours to get the answer. So I consider myself very good at football knowledge, but I had a little trouble with this one. All right, I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back with the recap of the Penguins' last 4 games. Have fun with the question.
Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a down south education on Florida sports and athletics. It's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
What's up, everybody? This is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Okay, welcome back. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I see in the chat you guys are putting answers up. All right, let me see. Jen Bree, Tom Brady and Vinny Testaverde, Terhan Rodriguez, Tom Brady for sure, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, and Vinny Testaverde. Okay, Jen B, you have one, and Tehran, you have two. Tehran wrote, I thought you said you can post answers in the chat. Plus, if I wait that long, I'm going to forget. All right, that's fine. If you want to put the answers up, I'll get to it towards the end, and I'll let you know. So, Jen B, you have one of your two, and Tehran, you have two of your four. Good guesses, Tehran. I had three of those four that you had at one point. Okay, so let's get into some Pittsburgh Penguins hockey. Again, this is the Yinzer Report, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. The Penguins, since last I spoke to you guys on my first show, played 4 games in 7 days. And their first game was actually that Tuesday. I did my first ever show. They played the Washington Capitals. It was the 67th installment in the regular season of Sidney Crosby versus Alex Ovechkin. The Caps came out on top 4-3, putting the Penguins at 18, 14, and 4. And Tristan Jarry got the hook early in the game after he gave up 3 goals on 7 shots. Now, last week, I mentioned the goalie. I couldn't pronounce his name. I think I have it now. The backup goalie, Alex Nedeljkovic, came in, and he stopped 14 to 15 shots, relieving Tristan Jarry. Sidney Crosby had a power play goal in the second period where he swatted the puck out of the air while falling to his ass. If you can see a highlight of this goal and you like hockey, you got to go see it. After the goal was even better. The PBG Paints Arena crowd were chanting, and the chants were ringing out, Crosby's better, Crosby's better. Just phenomenal. Telling Ovechkin who is better. Riley Smith played his 800th game in his NHL career. Crosby's 21st goal of the season. He had an assist as well, and that puts him at 1,540 points, passing Joe Thornton for the 12th on the NHL career points list. Next game was January 4th, 2024. It was a Thursday. Pittsburgh Penguins versus Boston Bruins, and this was a goal-scoring specialty. The Penguins came out on top, 6-5. They improved their record to 19-14-4, 42 points on the season. In this game, the Penguins handed the Bruins their third regulation loss of the season, blowing a 3-goal lead. Crosby had the game-winning goal on a power play. And another insane Penguin play. Chris Letang, defenseman, lofted it in a 180-foot pass from the defensive zone boards and wound up getting assists on Jake Guentzel's goal in the first period. I think he originally passed it to Crosby, who passed it to Guentzel, and they scored a goal. Again, another insane hockey play, 2 games in a row. Again, if you could catch that highlight, go check that one out. The aforementioned Alex Nedeljkovic made 4 saves in the final 2:18, which was a 6-on-5 for the Bruins, and Chris Letang and Peterson played the whole defense at the same time for the final 2:18 6-on-5. With 35 seconds left, the Bruins pressing hard for the tying goal. Crosby's line was at the end of a shift. One of the Penguins iced the puck. Mind you, again, at the end of the shift, Crosby raced into the offensive zone, beating out a Bruins defender to negate the icing, taking another 15 seconds off the final time. This is a play you don't see in the box scores, but needs to be recognized just as the hockey greatness of our captain, Sidney Crosby, continues. It warranted a comment from Coach Sullivan after he was asked about Crosby's play on that, and he just said, Sidney Crosby is the heartbeat of the team. Also, Sidney Crosby was named to the 2024 All-Star Game for the 10th time during the course of that game or day. Okay, so game 3 of 4 out of the 7 days was January 6th, Saturday night, versus the Buffalo Sabres. Look at this. Buffalo Sabres versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. That sounds interesting. Sounds familiar. Sabres wound up winning the game 3-1. Put the Penguins at 19-15-4. Jarry was back in net, and he made 40 saves on 41 shots. The Penguins, after this loss, have now lost 2 of 3, following a 6-game point streak. They had numerous scoring chances, grade A looks, with the only goal coming from Jake Guentzel. Drew O'Connor did have a goal disallowed after video reviewed Jake Guentzel interfered with the Buffalo goalie. Penguins played hard, though battling a tough goalie was going to be hard to get the victory. Okay, so then we had last night, the Battle of Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh Penguins versus Philadelphia Flyers at the Wells Fargo Center in Philly, PA. Penguins come out with a win. They now are 20-15-4 with 44 points. The goals were scored by Racker Raquel, his 5th of the year. Carlson, his 7th, both in the first period. Ruheidel scored his 1st of the year in the second period. And Malkin topped the scoring off in the third period with his 15th of the year. Scrappy contests, intense rivals, several scrums around the nets and in the corners after whistles. Chris Letang was bloodied in the third period, getting a stick to the face by a flyer. There were 11 penalties totaling 24 minutes. And once again, my aforementioned backup goalie of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Alex Nedeljkovic, was stellar, allowing one goal, and now has played in 4 of the last 5 games, going 3-1 with a .933 save percentage overall. And overall, now he's 8-3-2 with a .922 save percentage. It seems like he's worked his way into a timeshare with Christian Barry, thanks to his play of late. So that was the Penguins, 4 games in 7 days. They do stand right now on a 4-way tie for the last playoff spot, but 3 teams are ahead of them. So Pittsburgh Penguin hockey is going to heat up as the season goes along. Tune in for that. And see, you can go back to the chat here before I take another break and we talk some Pirate baseball. Okay. Doesn't seem like much more is going on in the chat. Hopefully you're still working on that question. Okay. I'm going to take another quick break. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that it is sport.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter, at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always want to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
Okay, welcome back. The Yinzer Report is back on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all other sports. The end of that last commercial there, go Bills, go Steelers. All right, I have some pirate stuff here for you. Spring training is rapidly approaching, and I have some information of the players that attended the Pirate Fan Fest January 6th. Players that attended were O'Neal Cruz, Leover Peguero, David Bednar, Joshua Palacios, Quinn Priester, Andrew McCutcheon, Connor Joe, Marco Gonzalez, Mitch Keller, Brian Reynolds, Jared Triolo, Henry Davis, Key Brian Hayes, Colin Holderman, and the alumni included Jason Grilley, Neil Walker, and Bob Walk. So I did hear of a comment from Pirates closer David Bednar about the Fan Fest, and he said, "Our Pirates fans showed up and turned down. Let's go Pirates." That's great. What else could you want? Good job by David Bednar. So I guess, like I said, I'm new to this Yinzer Report. So, Pirate fans, I'm sure you know this already, but I'll just go over it because we're talking about the Pirates. Your 2024 Pittsburgh Pirates franchise is in their 143rd season overall, their 138th season in the NL, and the 24th season at PNC Park. Now, everybody knows PNC sits along the Allegheny River with a view of downtown Pittsburgh skyline. And I tell you, that park is one of my top three parks for baseball to go watch a game. That skyline looks fake, but it's an amazing sight. I think you catch yourself more looking at the skyline than watching the game. PNC Park opened during the 2001 Major League Baseball season and opened March 31st, the first game, 2001. Your Pirates owner is Robert Nutting. Your GM is Ben Cherington. And, of course, your manager is Derek Shelton. Spring training is rapidly approaching. There was one other note about the evening games in Pittsburgh. They changed the start time. The new start time will be at 6:40 p.m. for evening games. Used to be 6:35 or 7:05. So they got the games going a little early. Again, spring training is coming. They have their first spring training game on February 24th at the Twins spring training facility. And of course, the Pirates spring training facility is called Lecombe Park in Braden, Florida. This stadium was built in 1992. It is the oldest spring training stadium, still hosting a team. The Pirates' first home spring training game will be versus the Detroit Tigers at that park, February 28, 2024 at 1:05 p.m. Okay, so let me just get into this Hall of Fame inductee for the Pittsburgh Pirates that I want to talk about. His name is Jimmy Leyland, former Pirate manager. He was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Leyland was named on 15 of 16 ballots in the election process, deciding a meeting of the Hall's Contemporary Baseball ERA Committee, which examines the cases of managers, umpires, and executives whose current contributions to the game after 1980. Jimmy Leyland will be the 33rd person to be inducted into the Hall of Fame as a manager. Leyland is a former Pittsburgh Pirates manager, as we all know. He was known for his lovable, irascible manner and pregame news conferences conducted in undershirts and a haze of cigarette smoke. Boy, do I remember those. Of course, Jim Leyland reached his pinnacle of his career, his managerial career, in 1997, winning the World Series with the talented, veteran-loaded Florida Marlins. Jim Leyland recognized on that day, on July 21st, 2024, among the game's immortals this summer. It will be the crowning achievement of 60 years around the professional game. Jimmy Leyland, congrats to you, another Pittsburgh Hall of Famer. Gotta love it. He was manager of the year 3 times, 1990, 1992 in the NL, and 2006 in the AL. All right, wow, the show went fast. Let's get back to the question. Again, for those of you who have joined, after I put the question out there, after the Steelers segment, question was, who are the 4 NFL quarterbacks in NFL history who have beaten all 32 teams? I saw Tom Brady on the chat. That is one. I saw Peyton Manning on the chat. I think Tehran had both of those. And Gen B had Tom Brady. Gen B recently wrote Vinny Testaverde, Joe Montana, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Randall Cunningham. You know what, Jim B? I guess Randall Cunningham too, but that's not it. That's not it. So there are 2 left. You guys got 2 out of the 4. We have another one that just came out by Taram to answer. I hope I'm saying your name right, buddy. I'm sorry if I'm not. To the answer to the trivia question, I'm going to guess Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Randall Cunningham, and Drew Bledsoe. No, you did have 2 at the start. You said Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Yes, those are 2 of the 4. Like I said, I had this happen, and it took me 22 hours to figure it out. I don't know if you want me to give you the answer or if you want to work on it a little more. There still are 2 left. So how about this? Work on it, and we'll get back to it next week. You should definitely have it by then. But again, don't take the cheesy way out and Google it, because it's going to come right up. All right, my time is ending. Quick note, let's go Steelers. Oh, and congratulations, another hockey point, to the USA under 17 team. They won the gold medal. Go USA. Love it. And like I said, quick recap, Steelers are in the playoffs. Penguins hockey's heating up, and the Pirates are coming to spring training pretty soon. So I will say goodbye. This is the Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that in sports. Enjoy your evening, and can't wait for next week's show. I will talk to you then. Good night. Once again, thanks for tuning in. The Yinzer Report, my second ever episode on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I had a great time today. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Thanks for all the chat. Update on the chat. Yes, Brett Favre is number 3 of the 4. So continue listening to IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports. There are a lot of shows upcoming. The one to follow me is the show of the land. The show of the land with Jen B. Coming up next, Cleveland Browns, AFC North. Another team from the AFC North. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your evening. The Yinzer Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all its sports, is now over. Let's go Steelers! Here we go Steelers! Shuffle off the Buffalo! Good night everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Love you guys.